ladies and gentlemen. I learn a lot about games by watching people play them, especially games that I've already played. It makes me realize things that I've taken for granted while I played the game. And one of these things was, well, I was watching someone play Sonic Adventure 2, and they were going through the gem levels, and I realized, so you see up here in Wild Canyon we've got this really long horizontal hallway with the world's best camera, and you can see it stretches out both ways. And then it goes straight down. So, as you can imagine, it's like a 3D capital T, where this is the lower bar of the T, the vertical part, and it links up directly into the horizontal bar, which is up here. So I think that's a pretty simple shape to recognize. So, okay, I mean, so what? But then you go to Dry Lagoon, which is the parallel stage for Rouge. This is Rouge's first stage. And let's just check out... This starting room is also sort of a vertical, circular room, lots of empty space in the middle. Just like the starting room for Knuckles. And, that turtle noise is very annoying, by the way. And then let's check out the second room of Rouge's stage. So it stretches out in two directions. Directions 180 degrees away from each other. So that it basically creates a straight line, the center of which is this pond where you get the turtle. Thank you, Rouge. So you can see it's like Knuckles' stage, where you have the big vertical bar, and you have the big horizontal bar that meets the vertical bar at its midpoint. But they're two separate rooms. So I was wondering if this is maybe something we could keep in mind when playing other gem stages. Maybe, well, let me go to another stage to get my point across. So the space stage, Meteor Herd. This is Knuckles' final stage. And as you might remember, it's just a long vertical climb. I don't think you can do first... No, I would love to look upward, but that is not possible in this engine. There we go. See? Look at this huge vertical scope. But I'm also able to jump around from area to area pretty easily. Sometimes areas are high enough that I need to use a spring, but when I'm going down, it's easy just to, glide to wherever I want. And in general, the entire area just sort of flows together. Where's the missile that I need? It's over there. And you might have, puzzles like this where you need to go out of your way to open up the way forward, or upward, I guess I should say. But you only need to do that once. Once you open that missile cage it's good forever. And we're still moving through distinct areas. Like, we have the lower area with all the lockers where I started out. And now we're... And it goes all the way up into an area that's pretty much the bottom of the arc. And we have a midpoint with a bunch of, like, random floating platforms just sort of, you know, floating around. So, even though all of the areas are continuous, they're still very distinct. There's, like, a distinct top, middle, and bottom flavor.
Stage select.
But if we go to Rouge's stage, Mad Space, this is Rouge's final stage.
Detector readings are reversed. Be very careful.
There we go, that's... yes. So much like Knuckles, it's very vertically oriented. Oftentimes, in order to get somewhere, I have to go up. But unlike Knuckles, I don't have the freedom of just flying wherever I want. Okay. So... instead, I have to rely on these rockets to get off the planet, no matter how I got onto it. And if I try real hard, I think, yes, I can find ways to fly off of planets. But generally speaking, you're supposed to be stuck in a planet's orbit. So, the trend so far is that Knuckles and Rouge have ideas that start with similar themes, where Wild Canyon and Dry Lagoon were both, like, had a vertical bar and then a horizontal bar, and Meteor Herd was a long vertical tube, and so is Mad Space. But in both of those cases, Rouge's stages are more broken up into discrete segments. So I was wondering, does that continue with the other stages? And maybe the most interesting comparison is between Security Hall and Knuckles' comparison is Aquatic Mine. I know it's kind of a stretch, but these happen at around the same point in the story, so I think this is what's supposed to be parallel. Anyway. So, in order to get through Aquatic Mine, you gotta operate these switches. And it raises the water level, allowing you to access different areas. So, now that the water level is at this point, I can go through this area, and, you know, before I couldn't punch this cart. But now I can't get down through there, so... let's, God, my life is hard. No, come on.
10 more left.
So if I want to get through that hallway, I have to raise the water level to get that floating platform up. Okay, thank God, he's got the air necklace. So you see, this is where I was before, and now I can walk through here. Or, you know, accidentally fall too far. And what's also worth noting is that I can't activate the third switch unless I can get up here. And when I lower the water level, this platform falls so that I can't climb up here and get to this pulley, or, you know, whatever it's called. I don't know what these are called. So in that way, all of the three switches are related to one thing, the water level. And being able to hit the third switch is dependent on my use of the other two switches. So everything is related. Yeah, I think that makes the point. But if we go into the Rouge Parallel, so you see there's a bunch of lockers, and only the ones with the blinking C can be opened. Or G. You know, same difference. So if I try to open a yellow one... Yeah, she can't. And in order to change that, I've got to go up here and hit the yellow switch. And the trade-off is that, well... Thanks, Robotic. You can see now the blue switch is on. And let's go turn on the... I had to pick the hard one. There we go. And you can see the blue ones are now off, but the yellow ones are on. So it's still a level that's about making sense of switches and pressing the right switch when you need it. But it's also none of the switches are related to one another. It's you turn one switch on, you turn the other two off by default. But like, in order to hit the yellow switch, I didn't need the blue one activated. I could have also had the red one activated. And I can access all of the lockers whenever I need to. I mean, that is to say, I can see all of them. I can't get inside them. But I can still navigate around the whole space whenever I like. So, the switches in this level are more independent of one another. And that my use of one is not dependent on my use of the others. So at this point, it seems to be making a pretty strong case that Rouge's segments, that the Rouge's stages are more broken up and discrete than Knuckles. But then my friend comes along and says, that's an interesting theory. But why don't you look at the pyramid stages? So, okay. And to be fair, this is towards the end of the hero story and towards the beginning of the evil story. So they're parallel in theme, but not in, like, they don't take place at the same time in the story. Anyway, so Knuckles' stages, or segments, are broken up by these switches that open up doors, and they constantly seal off parts of the stage so that I always have to work to open up and get to a new area. So that each room feels very separate and independent. But in the Rouge stage, so this guy, I think we all remember that guy. He constantly flies around the egg quarters, and he will have like a persistent position, like he's in Majora's Mask. He won't just randomly spawn, he's on a set course. So right then, that makes the whole place feel very cohesive in that he travels all of it. And to add to that, when you explore Rouge's stage, it doesn't have those same switches. I can just go to whatever room I want, whenever. So, between the guard robot and the lack of switches, Rouge's stage feels a lot less discrete, much more continuous, which is something I would have said is symptomatic of a which is something I would have said is more characteristic of a Knuckles stage. So, you know, my theory kind of went to pieces there, but it felt like I really had something. I'm not sure if this could lead to a greater understanding of the game in any way. One final note before I move on. One interesting thing I noted about the One interesting thing I noted about the Sonic and Shadow stages is that the Sonic stages also feel a lot more... Come on. A lot more continuous. This is not a good performance.
Stage selected.
But if we look at the Shadow stage, it's very similar, has, you know, the same jungle setting, these long tubes that I run through. But right off the bat, we're introduced to these bow tie things. And navigation in the level is constantly requires you to interact with those bow tie things. And I realize Sonic has his own gimmicks that you have to interact with, like with the giant swinging vines, but I feel like those bow ties have a larger presence. I guess if I wanted to change this from a feeling into something provable, I would have to look at, count how many instances there were of the bow ties, or the distance between them. It might help if I knew the actual name of the bow ties, like what the heck that's supposed to be. But anyway, that's just my two thoughts. I thought it was neat that for a while there was a distinct parallel, yet distinction between the Knuckles and Rouge stages. If you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. Please excuse my rambling commentary, but I didn't know how else to express this idea.